Most of
I'm
MAGA.
going to stop you right there. Please don't say MAGA. Just because I'm conservative and a Republican doesn't mean I like preach MAGA.
Presley, you just admitted that you hire listen, you just admitted you hire undocumented immigrants. Do you think they should be deported?
Yes, the ones who were deported, yes.
Why are you
Then why are you hiring them?
Every single person that gets hired that you think is a good person doesn't always end up being a good person.
Being undocumented does not make you a bad person.
I'm learning how to be a veterinarian. I don't need to sit through a class on microaggressions anymore. I promise you, if somebody walks up to me and says that was a microaggression, I will probably look at them and say,
you might not have
where
been
can
told.
I send your records?
You might not have been told.
Because people who are saying that to people need to get a life and touch grass.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did.
Why so?
For me, I just tend to have like more conservative views, and there were things that were coming from the Democrat Party that like I just couldn't align with. I'm listening to you and you're saying like some of the policies that you were really supportive of, but it was kind of hard to hear those policies when we talk a lot more about just like identity politics. And I'm like, are we getting to the root of like what's actually wrong in this country? Or are we just going to talk about identity politics? And I used to be a lot more like socially liberal and when I was in my 20s, and just as I've gotten older, I've just kind of grown to be more conservative, and I've just been more exhausted where the Democratic Party was headed. And I'm never going to say that I agree with everything that Donald Trump does or Donald Trump says, but I just felt like for me personally, I can't tell you that I've been like overly disappointed where things have been over the last 5 months. I'm pretty happy with how things are going. I feel like for the most part, I'm getting the things that I voted for.
Can you give me specific examples?
I mean, I don't have any complaints with what's happening with our immigration system right now.
Even though he violated a Supreme Court order.
Listen, I'm not a lawyer, so to ever say that I would be comfortable reading into those laws and having a full understanding, I don't think that many people do. So I don't feel comfortable like, you know, if he's violating some sort of Supreme Court order, okay. But I feel like I've heard both sides of this, and it's very difficult to honestly know who's telling the truth, because I feel like I try to listen to very balanced news forums.
Is the Supreme Court lying?
I don't know if this this is where it gets confusing to me, is if somebody is not a citizen, they do not, in my opinion, have those rights. So those are dedicated.
They don't have the right to due process?
No, I don't think
is it okay to them?
As like an American citizen or an illegal citizen?
If they're in the country illegally, is it okay to them?
Is that what we're doing?
I'm just asking.
No.
Is that okay?
Is it okay?
I feel like these are two different topics. Like you're talking
this
like
is a really simple question. Is it okay to undocumented immigrants?
Is it okay to an undocumented immigrant? That's the question, correct? Sorry, I just want to make sure. I don't think it's legal to murder them, but I don't know
that. Ask if it's legal. I asked you if you think if it's okay.
Like morally okay?
Yeah.
Well, no.
You think it's wrong, right?
But if someone a U.S. citizen is a undocumented immigrant, should that a U.S. citizen be charged?
Well, yeah, they're a U.S. citizen, so they are entitled to due process. Due process does not apply to people who are not citizens.
Not then due process would be on the person who is, because you're saying that person then has to get the process in order to like right that wrong. So would they like be like protected in some way?
I guess I'm not totally understanding where the due process thing comes in this place then, because if they are deceased, and
why do we charge people who, right? It's not for their benefit. It's for the benefit of the person who died and for their families, right?
Right.
Yeah. So even though they're dead, right? The process involved is getting justice. Due process is about justice and about the law.
Okay. And I understand that, but again, I think that I think that we're comparing these are two very different situations. You're talking about people who entered this country illegally, who are being deported, and then saying that we need to have hearings for all of these people because they were denied due process.
Yes.
But they're not citizens. So
It doesn't matter. I mean, like, I don't want to beat
I'm just
around the
telling you
bush,
that
but, like,
that's my opinion on
yes,
the
but
matter.
like,
So
but like, your view is wrong. Like, that's projected by even the most conservative, like people that know the law, like imaginable. Even Antonin Scalia, who is the most conservative justice to exist in the last 100 years, said that they have due process rights. So I
Right,
mean, like,
but
you
I'm
guys
just
don't like. You're just
please
wrong.
don't say you guys. This is my personal opinion, not the opinion of everyone, and you don't have to get
No,
loud with me. I'm trying to have a
I'm not loud. No,
level-headed debate.
many MAGA individuals hold this view. So I say you guys, I mean most of MAGA.
I'm going to stop you right there. Please don't say MAGA. Just because I'm conservative and a Republican doesn't mean I like preach MAGA. So
You voted for Donald Trump, you're MAGA.
No, I voted for my Republican constituent.
Which is Donald Trump.
And respectfully, I did not vote for Donald Trump in the 2016 election. I did not vote.
I didn't ask you about 2016. We were talking about 2024.
Right. But this doesn't have to resort to name calling. I'm not going to sit on here and
who name calls you?
You're calling me MAGA. Like I'm not
MAGA. How is it? That's name calling? We said you're MAGA because you support Donald Trump.
It tends to be a derogatory reference.
I'm not even using it in a derogatory way. I'm just saying
just like
MAGA.
Every person who comes on here and instead of just speaking to you calls you beta. Like we've got to.
How is me calling you MAGA the same as someone calling me beta?
Look, I also just want to say too, and I mean this in the best possible way. You came on the live also, and you're talking about how undocumented migrants don't deserve due process. And you're now complaining about us being mean to you when you went to deny an entire class of people constitutional rights. I mean, like, come on here. I mean, like,
it's difficult
who's actually being oppressed.
Okay, oppressed. I'm not saying anybody's being oppressed. I'm just saying that, like, listen, millions of people poured into this country illegally, and there has to be a process to get them out.
Yes, due process.
Well, we don't have the time, money, or resources to give every
Actually, you know what? That's a good point. If they don't deserve due process, well, then what is the due process for getting them out of the country?
I mean, they immigrated here illegally, so truthfully, I don't care how they get them out.
You don't care. So if they would you care?
I don't think that anybody's going to the lengths of.
I'm just asking, if they them, would you be okay with that?
Wait, how about this? They send them to a prison in a country that they're not from, and then they're
yeah.
Is
that okay to you? Sending them to death camps in other countries?
Well, not all of them are going to death camps. There's
not all of them. So some of them.
Some of them.
How do you know that they're being there? Do you guys have proof of this? Because nobody else has provided proof of this.
Yeah, these people have lawyers, and those lawyers go down there to talk to them, and they're trying to sue on their behalf. And so we have court documents about it. We have them being interviewed. We have the El Salvadorian government telling us that they have them. You got places in Venezuela saying that they have them. You have places in Syria who are now trying to get them. And so they're telling us where they're sitting. They're not hiding it.
So they're telling you that they're them?
No. Well, no. The one that I'm talking about, the one in El Salvador, right, is known for being extremely violent. So the likelihood of them being harmed in some way up to and including murder is high because it houses so many different violent individuals that anybody going there, it doesn't matter if you're a violent person or not, is at a greater likelihood of being harmed. That's one of the whole point of that prison, is to house violent, some of the most violent people there. And so obviously bad things will happen. Right? I mean, that's kind of the whole point.
Well, listen, I want to have sympathy for people. Unfortunately, I have a great friend who her husband came here illegally across the border. He's been here for 12 years now, has still been unable to get his citizenship. And the government has told her that maybe she should just go to Mexico with him instead. And I'm not saying I agree with the process of how long it takes, because this man is a very good man. He works hard, he pays taxes, he does all of the right things. He wants to be a citizen. So
exactly. Like, why should people who meet that description get kicked out of the country? It's ridiculous.
Right. Well, I don't foresee him getting kicked out of the country, but it's a possibility. He's an illegal immigrant. If he runs a traffic stoplight and gets pulled over, this is not like an unreal possibility for them. So I'm not saying that our country shouldn't have reform, because I mean, we need immigrants, and they bring a lot to our country, and they bring a lot to our culture. And so I'm just saying
immigration is an important aspect of our economy.
I agree, but you have to have control over it. I understand. It has to be controlled.
We don't dispute that, but what you're not understanding is that, like, if we have a slow process of immigration, it makes it harder to control. Because now you have a lot of people going through the process undocumented who are seriously just coming for a better life, and those aren't the people you want to restrict from coming to the country. So we make the process
at the
go
moment,
faster,
I don't think that he is. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay. I apologize.
Go ahead.
At the moment, I don't think he's targeting a lot of just innocent individuals. I think that the people thus far who have been taken out of this country are not just like everyday hardworking, want to be American people. Like he has got people out of this country who are known criminals and people who are dangerous to being here. So to say that he's just going and taking people that are considered good people, and I hate saying good and bad, but I'm just saying that that's not what's really happening.
Actually, disproportionately, it is happening, because
it is not, though, because
one of the reasons why
my family owns the. And you know who is primarily employed there? Illegal immigrants. And so when everybody is losing their ever-loving minds that we're not going to have people to work, that is not true. That is a bunch of false information that is being put out there. Nobody is raiding nobody is doing any of the above.
Presley, you just admitted that you hire listen, you just admitted you hire undocumented immigrants. Do you think they should be deported?
We've already had some of them be deported.
Do you think they should be deported?
Yes, the ones who were deported, yes.
Why are you hiring them?
You can't vet every single person that you hire.
You know they're undocumented right now. What are you talking about?
Every single person that gets hired that you think is a good person doesn't always end up being a good person.
Being undocumented does not make you a bad person. Also, you hired them. So why are you hiring bad people under your own view?
So they lied to you?
Yeah, why are you hiring bad people that you know are bad people under your own view?
Because they were not thought to be bad when they were hired.
Yeah, okay.
But why are you still keeping them as an employee? Did you fire them?
Fire them?
Some of them were.
So no.
So see, this is called hypocrisy, because you come on the live. No, it is, because you come on the live and you say we have to do this, and we got to get the bad people out, and we got to like stop it, undocumented migration. But then you hire undocumented migrants. That's hypocrisy.
Because most of them that we have hired are really trying to get their citizenship. They work really freaking hard. They're really good with. They're good people and shouldn't be deported. Oh my God, she's running in right into the point as to why we shouldn't deport people and why we should give them mass amnesty. Trust me, if the majority of the people that work there could have their mass amnesty, I would fight for that, because these are people who are doing the right thing that are being paid. They spend money. You know what, Presley, you totally agree with us. You just need to apply that to people as in like general, not to just people that you know in your real life. You have to apply that to people in general. We can't apply that to people in general, Parker. You're talking about trust me, I wish I had a better answer for this, and I don't have all of the answers. I'm not a master debater. Like, I'm a 33-year-old college student who's still learning as I go. I'm not a perfect person. I am trying to learn. The illegal immigration thing is not the like one sole thing that I wrote on. I'm just not like unhappy with. Presley, would free public universities help you out? No, because my husband he didn't go to college, and it's not my husband's job to pay higher taxes so that I can have free. We can just reallocate funding we already use.
If we were to
They're never going to do that, Parker. They're never going to do that.
I'll give you an example. If we were to take 1/10 of our military budget and put that into funding free public universities, everyone in this country would be able to have access to free public universities, right? In terms of college, right? If it is the case that we literally did that, that's not without even increasing taxes. That is literally what would happen.
And I would expand that even more. I'm sorry, Press. I didn't interrupt you.
No, it's okay. You can speak.
I would explain that even more. Not even free public universities, trade schools. Like I'm okay with trade schools. I'm okay with good union jobs straight out of high school. I want to fund all of those things because I want to give people choices, right? And so I'm okay with my tax money, which I don't like. I have no interest in like a trade school. I have no investment in that, right? No, but what I do have good investment in is people in society doing what they want to do, and us to have people who are in jobs that are very productive to society. I want people who want to be plumbers and to be electricians and anything to actually be able to do what they're what they want to do. And so I'm okay paying some of my taxes to that, right? And as Parker already mentioned, we can allocate money already spent. Like we are like right now in the House cutting passing tax cuts for people who don't need it. We are actually going to spend $3.8 trillion over 10 years on making sure that people who don't need tax cuts get tax cuts. Think about how that money could be applied to the whole myriad of things that it could pay for: healthcare, education, so many different things. But that's not what the Republican Party stands for. Like it just isn't.
I can't say that I agree with that, only because like I was still a working individual, when Donald Trump was president the first time, when I didn't vote for him and he did his middle class tax cuts, and a week later I was seeing more money on my checks. And as like business owners, this has been like a generational thing. My grandpa has told me for years, like, my business has always done the best when a Republican is in office.
Can I ask you a question? Okay, so do you think that your taxes were too high under the Biden-Harris administration?
Do I? Like just this past, I wasn't working because I've been in college, so I can't tell you anything about my taxes this time because I haven't worked.
Okay, so then how would you evaluate whether or not it was better under Democrat leadership versus Republican leadership if you weren't working under Democratic leadership?
I was working during the Obama administration.
Okay, so you're comparing the Obama administration to the Trump administration, when under the Obama administration, right, we saw like literally growth, whereas right now we're not seeing growth?
No, because during the Obama administration, when we introduced Obamacare and I was no longer able to be under my parents' insurance, I was literally paying $800 a month for insurance.
Why were you not able to be under your parents' insurance?
Because I was married.
Okay, so because you're married, you weren't able to be under your parents' insurance?
No, that was their work policy. Once you could either be 26.
That's the work policy. That has nothing to do with the government then.
What are you talking?
You said that was work policy.
So I had to enroll in Obamacare. And prior to that, we had private health insurance.
Okay, so you're mad that the ACA applied to you, that you benefited from the ACA?
I didn't benefit. I was paying $800 a month.
What were you paying prior?
$125.
So you went from paying $125 to $800 a month?
Yes.
Because of the Affordable Care Act?
Because wait, hold on. That's probably because you're in Texas?
No, I'm in Ohio.
Oh, okay, Ohio. So Ohio, I don't think when the law was passed at first, it didn't establish a market exchange. So like you had to go to the federal one, which doesn't have the same kind of like built-in ways to like lower down the cost, which is why most states since then have their own marketplace, which is trying to bring those prices down. So yes, at first it may have been high, but like the whole point was to try to bring in lower prices.
Yeah, that didn't happen for most of us. I will say that.
And by the way, I support Obamacare, but like I think it should go farther.
Enough.
Like
we would agree with universal coverage, so it's free at the point of service.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I I don't know, because
now she doesn't agree with it being free.
No, trust me, I do wish it could be free, but when I hear of like other people in other countries that quote unquote have like free healthcare, and hearing their complaints and their frustrations with it, like, I don't know
They have
which
average
is better.
better health outcomes if depending on which one you're referencing. They also spend half as much almost per capita comparative to us in the United States.
But then why are they sitting there saying that it takes months to get care, or that they constantly are like their appointments are getting bumped? They're not able to be seen. They're not receiving the care they need.
No, we have the same problem, just in a different way, right? We have the same problem in that people are putting off care because they can't afford it.
Yep.
Same problem, right? It's just a different way of expressing it.
But the hospital can't turn you away. So if you can't afford your
Only in
medical
emergency
care,
situations. Only in emergency.
right, in an emergency situation, or you end up there and you get that bill in the mail and you can't pay it, you flip the back of the bill over, you fill out your form, and it just goes away. They don't make you pay it.
But the whole point is
Do you
want to
Parker,
get people
please
to read.
Don't make that face at me, because trust me, I had to do it before when I didn't have the money to pay.
And that's wrong.
That's
wrong.
It is wrong.
You should not.
Yeah,
you should not
it
have
affects
to
your
wait.
credit. It affects your credit. It affects other things within the context of your life. We would like to limit those things so that doesn't happen to you. But if you want to leave it up to the free market that Donald Trump's advocating for, right, you're going to do it to yourself. You're going to make it to be more expensive for you, for everyone else in this country. Do not do that to people. People rely on this to survive. Literally 45 to 68,000 American lives lost every single year due to lack of health insurance in this country. That is despicable for us to go through that level of harm, right? That's insane. Like, I don't think that people should have to be going through that. And I care a hell of a lot more about people living than I care about literally insurance companies making a hell of a lot more profits.
I mean, I will 100% agree with you there. I just, I might be able to bring myself back to center at some point, but at the moment, for me personally, just if the Democrat Party could figure out what it stands for, that has way less to do with identity politics and more with like actually figuring things out, I'm always happy to listen. But I think we've just spent a really long time forcing the identity politics, and it's just like, it's out of hand.
See, from like my perspective, right? I've been steeped in like Democratic politics for like more than like 10 years now, right? And I can tell you that the only people who I hear complain and like propagate identity politics are people on the right. Like when I'm talking to Democrats on the ground and like in general, the people that actually vote, people that actually like want to do things, they don't talk about stuff. They talk about like what we talk about healthcare and education and housing, right? Why is it that during all of the elections so far, since Trump and everything, that it's only been Democrats that have policies in place and want to provide policies that actually deal with housing and education and daycare and all of these many issues? Where are the Republican policies on this? Where are they? Instead, all they want to do is bash gay people, bash trans people, yell about DEI, right? They don't actually want to propose actual solutions that will solve your real problems. But what they do is they dangle fake ones in front of you, and then that makes sure that you don't actually see what the real problem is, which is the rampant corruption and the rampant capitalism that is going on in the system that is trying to prey on the lower and the middle class people in America. That's what we're seeing. And so only one party for decades has actually had the balls to actually say, we have policies that will make it so that your life is better through housing and through education and all of those things. Not the Republican Party.
I guess that's just not been my experience, because like I've spent so much time now, like I go to a liberal university, and it's like literally all we talk about is identity stuff. And it's like, I'm just here to get an education. I really don't care about any of this. So I don't like.
Yeah, you're right.
That's literally all we hear about.
No, I agree with you. Places of education are meant to expand your mind and to challenge your thinking. And the fact that you don't care about it or don't maybe not even feel comfortable about it is the whole point. The whole point is to make you feel uncomfortable about what you're learning, because you should not feel comfortable to challenge what you already believe in. That's why I think it should be mandatory that every student take a class on things like slavery and on things like problems with history, all of these different things, because we're meant to challenge ourselves. You don't go to school just to learn to like what makes you feel good. You go to expand your mind, and I think that
Right. That's already
thing.
that's already been done for me. Like I'm learning how to be a veterinarian. I don't need to sit through a class on microaggressions anymore. Like either be kind to people and treat others the way you want to be treated, but forcing this down.
What do you mean forcing it down your throat? How is it forcing it down your throat?
Because we're required to go to these classes.
You chose to go to that university. And
You're
also,
right.
like you having such an issue with being taught about microaggressions is literally just showing the fact that you don't give a fuck about anyone's issues that affect anyone else except for things that would be applicable to specifically you.
Honestly,
also,
I just think
you're a vet. You're a vet dealing with the public, right?
Right.
You don't want to engage in unintentional microaggressions. So maybe you should learn about what they are and how to avoid them because you're going to be dealing with the public. So why is that a bad thing?
Because respectfully, Matt, I've worked in the veterinary field now for 12 years and I've never had an issue engaging with any of my clients.
That doesn't mean that you won't.
No.
I didn't mean it won't. No, you could have microaggressed somebody and not even known it.
I promise you, if somebody walks up to me and says that was a microaggression, I will probably look at them and say,
you might not have
where
been
can
told.
I send your records?
You might not have been told.
Because people who are saying that to people need to get a life and touch grass. Like there are way more important things in the world.
No, look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No.